There comes a time in every person's life when the truth can no longer be postponed. That moment when the whispers of wisdom become too loud to ignore, when the soul itself leans forward, urging you to pay attention. And when it does, you either act or you regret. This advice, this golden thread of truth, has stirred the hearts of millions because it does not speak to the ears, it speaks to the spirit. It does not charm the intellect, it awakens the will. It is not complicated, yet it is profound, and it is this: you become exactly what you believe you are, not what others say, not what your circumstances imply, not what your past insists. You are what you decide to be, moment by moment, belief by belief, action by action. This simple idea has sparked a revolution in the lives of over 20 million people. Some were on the brink of failure, others lost in despair. Many doubted themselves, imprisoned by fear and shackled by indecision. But when they took this advice, when they allowed it to seep into their bones, they rose, they discovered power within they never knew existed. If you can grasp this, you can change everything. Everything you see around you was first created in the mind. The chair you sit on, the building you enter, the clothes on your back, the car you drive. Someone imagined it first. The outer world is simply a reflection of someone's inner vision. The world bends to the force of a definite mind, unwavering in belief. So the advice is not to simply believe in yourself. That's elementary. The true advice is to believe with clarity, act with intention, and persist with fire. When life challenges you, do not retreat. When others doubt you, do not be shaken. When you fail, and you will, do not stop, because failure is not the end. Failure is the beginning of greatness, when it is embraced as instruction, not condemnation. You must master your thoughts as a captain masters the sea. You must discipline your desires as a farmer disciplines his land, and you must feed your faith daily, for what you feed grows, and what you starve dies. Those who live on purpose are never accidental. They do not wait for luck. They do not chase approval. They command their time, and they budget their energy like gold. They understand that the richest wealth is not money. It is clarity of purpose, consistency of action, and courage in adversity. 20 million people heard these words and changed their lives, not because the words were magic, but because they acted. They didn't just nod in agreement, they moved. They didn't just dream, they planned. They didn't just plan, they executed. This advice has been passed from heart to heart, soul to soul, until it became more than words. It became a movement, and now it stands before you. And the question is not, will it work for you? The question is, will you work it? You have a choice. You can listen and scroll, or you can listen and rise. What you decide next determines everything. There comes a moment in every person's life when ordinary advice becomes extraordinary, not because the words are different, but because the listener is ready. That moment when the right idea touches the right heart at the right time can ignite a fire no circumstance can extinguish. This advice, passed quietly from one to another, has reached the ears of more than 20 million people, not because it shouted, but because it whispered directly to the soul, and here it is: you become exactly what you believe you are. Not what others say you are, not what your past has painted you to be, not what your current surroundings suggest, but what you believe deep within your spirit. If you believe you are powerful, life will bend to your will. If you believe you are insignificant, the world will reflect that back to you at every turn. You must grasp that truth like a sword and carry it with you every day. Those who allowed this advice to sink into their minds discovered something miraculous. They realized their outer world was a reflection of their inner beliefs, that every limitation they once saw was a self-imposed wall, that the borders of possibility are drawn in the mind first, long before they appear in the world. Those 20 million people came from every walk of life: broken homes, failed businesses, painful divorces, missed opportunities. Yet when they embraced this idea, their lives began to shift, slowly for some, suddenly for others, but change came, not from wishing, but from believing and acting on that belief with relentless clarity. You see, the world is not ruled by chance, it is shaped by minds with purpose. Every great achievement began in thought. The buildings that tower over cities, the machines that power our lives, the businesses that connect the globe, all were once invisible, alive only in someone's imagination. And if that power exists in one, it exists in all, including you. You have the ability to craft your life from the inside out. But you must start with belief, not a vague hope, but a firm decision that your life will obey the vision you hold. You must believe with so much intensity that doubt has no room to breathe. You must act with intention so strong that procrastination cannot keep up. And you must persist with such determination that even failure bows in respect. Those who succeed do not wait for permission. They move when others hesitate. They build when others talk. They continue when others quit. They understand that failure is not final, it is feedback. It is the map that points toward mastery. Every loss carries a lesson. Every delay conceals a gift, and every disappointment, when viewed through the lens of purpose, becomes fuel for forward motion. You are not here to live in reaction, you are here to create. And creation requires courage. It demands you discipline your thoughts, manage your energy, protect your focus, and direct your actions. The ones who rise are not the most talented, nor the most lucky. They are the ones who chose not to stop. They became intentional with their time, guarded their environment, and refused to surrender their future to doubt. What you decide to do with this advice is your crossroad. Some will hear and feel inspired for a moment, then go back to their old ways. But a few will hear and decide. They will move, they will change, they will rise, because they know that this advice is not about motivation. It is about transformation. And transformation begins the moment you stop asking if it will work and start proving that it will. Everything you see around you was once invisible. It did not exist in the physical world until it was first formed in the mind of someone bold enough to imagine it. The clothes you wear, the lights in your room, the phone in your hand, the buildings that stand tall in your city, all were once just ideas, flickers of vision held in the unseen chambers of thought. Before they became reality, they were simply possibilities, floating in the minds of those who dared to believe they could bring something into being. And this is the truth that touched millions. Vision always precedes reality. There is no creation without imagination. There is no progress without a picture of what could be, and there is no fulfillment without first seeing it in the theater of your own mind. Those who understand this do not live by what they see, they live by what they envision. They are not controlled by the conditions around them because they know those conditions are temporary. They look past what is, and they focus on what can be. They do not accept the present as permanent. They treat every obstacle as clay to be molded, not as stone to be feared. They are guided by an inner blueprint, and their actions are shaped by an inner compass that points to a future they already feel in their bones. And that vision, once believed with intensity, once fueled with emotion, begins to shift the very fabric of reality. Vision is not fantasy. It is the seed of everything real. It is the invisible force that bends reality into shape, and the stronger the vision, the more powerful its pull. Those who walked through fire and built empires from ashes did so not because they were lucky, but because they saw something others could not. They held on to their vision when the world laughed at them. They believed in it when no one else did. They carried it in their hearts like a flame, shielding it from the winds of doubt and stoking it with the wood of persistence. Every step they took was rooted in a reality that had not yet appeared, but they knew, deeply, completely, that it would. Because they saw it so clearly, they felt it was already theirs. The people whose lives were transformed by this idea understood that their imagination was not a playground, it was a workshop. Every moment spent visualizing their success, every detail painted in their minds, became a blueprint their subconscious would follow. They aligned their thoughts, their words, their energy, and their time with the picture they carried. And slowly, almost invisibly at first, the world began to change. Opportunities arose, people showed up, paths unfolded. not because life suddenly became easier, but because their focus became sharper. The mind, once aimed like a laser at a specific target, begins to direct action, perception, and even attraction toward that target. Vision gives birth to movement, and movement creates momentum. When you understand that the world is a mirror of your inner state, you begin to see that changing your life does not start with effort alone. It starts with clarity. You do not hustle blindly. You envision and then you build. You do not run just to run. You run towards something. And when your vision is strong enough, it will guide you even through storms, because it acts as a lighthouse, pulling you toward a shore that already exists in your imagination. You don't need the world to confirm your dream before you move. You only need to confirm it to yourself, because once you see it, really see it, and believe it without compromise, reality has no choice but to begin its transformation. What starts in the mind finishes in the world. What begins in thought ends in form. All progress is born in vision, and all vision, once held with certainty, becomes destiny. Failure is one of life's greatest teachers, but only to those who are willing to be students. It is not a sign to stop, nor a punishment to fear. It is instruction wrapped in discomfort. It is correction disguised as defeat. When understood properly, failure becomes one of the most powerful forces in your life, not because it feels good, but because it forces growth. Those who rise to greatness do not avoid failure. They embrace it, study it, and use it. They see it not as the opposite of success, but as part of the journey toward it. They do not attach shame to it, nor do they run from it. Instead, they ask, what is this trying to teach me? Because they know that every setback contains a seed of advancement if they are willing to look closely. People often misunderstand the nature of failure. They think it means something is wrong with them, that they are not good enough, not smart enough, not ready. But failure is not personal. It is directional. It comes to guide, not to destroy. When you try and fall short, you are not proving your incompetence. You are discovering a better way forward. Every master was once a beginner, and every expert was once clumsy and unsure. But they became masters not by avoiding mistakes. They became great by walking through them. They made errors, missed targets, stumbled forward, but they never surrendered to the weight of disappointment. They learned, they adapted, they sharpened their focus, they continued. The ones who truly fail are not the ones who fall down, but the ones who stay down. The ones who interpret failure as final are the ones who miss out on the treasures buried inside the fall. It is not the stumble that defines you. It is the story you tell yourself about that stumble. If you believe failure is an identity, you begin to wear it like a badge. But if you believe failure is a message, you start to seek its meaning. The most powerful individuals are those who have failed many times, often more than the average person even tries. They collect failures like a craftsman collects tools. Each one has a purpose. Each one adds to their skill. They are not afraid of embarrassment, of ridicule, of imperfection. Their eyes are fixed on the larger picture, and each failure is simply a brushstroke in the masterpiece they are painting. When you begin to see failure as a teacher, everything changes. Your fear shrinks, your courage grows. You stop hesitating because you no longer fear the fall. You welcome what it will show you, and with every lesson learned, your foundation becomes stronger. Failure teaches you resilience. It sharpens your thinking. It humbles you in the best way and shows you where your blind spots are. It pushes you to improve in ways success never could. Success can sometimes make you complacent, but failure makes you hungry. It drives you deeper into the craft, closer to the truth, and more connected to your vision. Every failure, no matter how painful, has the potential to elevate you if you allow it to. The difference between those who make it and those who don't is not the number of times they fail, but what they do after. Some freeze, some quit, but others rise with new wisdom in their hands and fire in their hearts. They no longer see obstacles as reasons to retreat, but as training grounds for greatness. They are not defined by their failures, but refined by them. And in that mindset, there is no such thing as a wasted experience. Every fall becomes a forward step. Every mistake becomes momentum. Because once you stop fearing failure, you unlock a version of yourself that cannot be broken. You become unstoppable, not because you are perfect, but because you are willing to fail your way to the top. You were not born to simply react to the world. You were born to shape it. To wait for circumstances to align is to hand over your power, but to decide, to declare, and to act in alignment with your vision is to reclaim control of your life. Those who live with intention do not drift aimlessly, hoping for something good to happen. They are not pulled this way and that by every emotion, every opinion, every temporary distraction. They are anchored by purpose. They choose their thoughts, they select their actions, they direct their energy. They do not rely on chance because they understand that success is never a matter of luck. It is a matter of deliberate creation. They live by design, not by default. Intention is the fuel of greatness. It separates those who wander from those who conquer. It transforms routine into ritual. When you live with intention, every step has meaning and every moment is invested, not wasted. You no longer move because others are moving. You move because you know exactly where you are going. Your actions are not random, they are strategic. Your time is not spent, it is sown like a seed into the soil of purpose. You begin to treat your life like the precious opportunity it is. You guard your time not because you are selfish, but because you understand its value. You protect your attention not to withdraw from the world, but to pour it into the things that matter most. There are those who live accidentally, waking up each day with no true direction, pulled by notifications, trapped by routine, hoping something will change, but nothing changes until they do, and nothing changes until they choose. That choice begins the moment they decide that their life will no longer be left to chance. It is a shift in mindset, from passive to proactive, from hoping to building, from surviving to thriving, and that shift changes everything. Because when you live with intention, you no longer tolerate distraction. You do not let the unimportant steal from the essential. You no longer ask, "What should I do today?" You ask, "What must I do to move closer to my vision?" To live intentionally is to live with clarity. And with clarity comes power. When your vision is clear, your energy becomes laser, focused. You no longer waste time wondering what to do next. You know, you rise early with purpose. You speak with conviction. You say no with confidence. You act with discipline even when you don't feel like it. Because you are no longer led by your mood, you are led by your mission, and the mission matters more than momentary comfort. The mission fuels you when you're tired. It strengthens you when you feel weak. It reminds you why you started when you're tempted to quit. The people who rise, the ones who achieve the impossible, do not live perfect lives. They are not always motivated. They are not without problems, but they are always intentional. They do not wait for the right mood, the right timing, or the right conditions. They move forward anyway. They create the timing, they shape the conditions, they generate the momentum through the force of their will. Because once they decided to live with intention, the world began to respond. Opportunities appeared. Resources showed up, people aligned, not by magic, but by magnetism, drawn by the energy of someone who knows exactly what they want and why they want it. That kind of clarity is contagious. That kind of focus is rare. And that kind of intention is unstoppable. You become what you consistently think about, what you dwell on, what you entertain in the silence of your own mind. Your thoughts are not fleeting. They are forming you. Every belief you hold, every decision you make, every path you walk begins first in your thoughts. The mind is the workshop of the soul, and whether you shape it consciously or allow it to drift aimlessly, it is always at work. What you allow into that workshop matters more than anything else. Think long enough on your weaknesses and you will feel weak. Dwell long enough on your power and you will become powerful. You are not a victim of your thoughts. You are their master if you choose to be. And when you understand this, you gain access to the most potent force of transformation available to man. The thoughts you choose today will shape the results you see tomorrow. There is no escaping this law. It is as true as gravity and just as consistent. Your reality bends itself to fit the shape of your inner dialogue. What you believe, what you expect, what you fear, what you constantly rehearse in your imagination, these things begin to materialize as behaviors, decisions, and eventually outcomes. This is why some people succeed where others falter, not because they are luckier, not because they are more talented, but because their internal world is ordered, focused, and empowered by deliberate thought. They guard their minds like a fortress because they know that every thought has a consequence, and they refuse to give space to anything that weakens them. Most people do not realize that they are affirming something all the time. Every time they say, "I can't," they are training their brain to create limitation. Every time they say, "I always mess up," they are giving the subconscious mind an instruction. The mind is obedient. It follows the dominant voice it hears, and if that voice is one of defeat, the results will echo it. But if that voice is one of confidence, one of direction, one of belief, then even when challenges come, and they always will, the mind becomes an ally, not an enemy. It will search for solutions. It will push through discomfort. It will hold the line when doubt tries to sneak in. The great secret is that you can rewrite your inner dialogue. You can choose new thoughts. You can speak new truths until they take root. Repetition is the language of the mind, and what you repeat, you become. Speak life into your goals. Speak power into your decisions. Speak victory even when you feel surrounded by failure. The transformation begins not with your circumstances, but with your internal agreement. If you agree with defeat, you prepare for loss. But if you agree with possibility, you start preparing for victory. You must become aware of what you allow into your mind, not just from others, but from yourself. What you say when no one is listening matters most. That silent narrative you replay as you fall asleep, that commentary running in the background of your actions. This is the programming of your life. And the incredible truth is that you can rewrite that program. You are not stuck with any belief unless you choose to be. You are not doomed to repeat any cycle unless you continue to give it permission. Begin to think the thoughts of the person you wish to become. Begin to affirm the habits, the strength, the vision that align with your purpose. Speak it, think it, believe it, and soon you will live it. Because you don't rise above your thoughts, you rise through them. They are the foundation of everything you will ever build. Guard them, shape them, and use them as the tools they are, for in them lies the blueprint of your destiny. Time is not merely a measure of passing moments. It is the currency of life itself. It is the only asset equally distributed to all, yet it is also the most commonly wasted. What a man does with his time reveals the depth of his vision, the clarity of his values, and the seriousness of his purpose. Every minute spent is a decision made. Either it is an investment in the person you are becoming, or it is a distraction leading you away from it. You cannot buy more time, but you can waste less. You cannot stretch a day, but you can fill it with what matters most. The difference between the mediocre and the extraordinary is not found in talent alone. It is found in how they spend their hours, their minutes, their focus. There are those who wait for time to give them permission. They say, "I'll begin when I have more time," never realizing that time waits for no one. It is not something you find, it is something you make. The ones who build empires, who create legacies, who transform their world, do not wait for time to appear. They carve it out with intention. They rise early not because they are forced, but because they understand that the quiet hours are sacred. They organize their days not because they are rigid, but because they are committed. They say no, not out of rudeness, but out of reverence for what they are building. Every hour, every block of time is a brick in the construction of their future, and they do not place those bricks carelessly. Discipline is not restriction. It is freedom in its highest form. The man who disciplines his time has more of it. He has more peace, more clarity, more control. He does not rush through life with the panic of the unprepared. He does not scramble in regret. He does not arrive late to his own destiny. He moves with precision. He acts with decisiveness. He plans his day and lives it by design. This is not about being busy for the sake of activity. This is about being productive in the direction of your vision. There is a vast difference between motion and progress. Many move all day and go nowhere. Few move with intention and change everything. Those who respect time build momentum, and momentum, once gathered, becomes a force that carries you past obstacles that would have stopped the unprepared. Every small task done with excellence becomes a rehearsal for the larger opportunities that await. Every hour well used compounds over time and turns into mastery. This is the quiet secret of the great. While others are scrolling, they are studying. While others are distracted, they are building. While others are talking about what they want to do, they are already doing it. And when the results begin to show, people call it luck. But it is never luck. It is simply time well used, day after day, while no one was watching. If you want to change your life, do not wait for the perfect season. Begin with your next hour. Make your minutes matter. Schedule what you value. Protect what is important. Design your days around your purpose, and soon your purpose will begin to shape your entire life. You don't need more time. You need to become more deliberate with the time you already have. You don't need to be faster. You need to be clearer. When you know where you are going and you align your hours with that vision, time becomes a partner, not a problem. It begins to serve you. It begins to multiply your results, because time is not the enemy. It is the stage on which greatness is built, minute by precious minute. So, let the world keep rushing. Let noise and distraction clamor for your attention. Let the uncommitted drift in circles, waiting for someday, but not you. You now know the truth, that your time is your life, and your life is far too valuable to be lived by accident. From this moment forward, choose to live deliberately. Choose to guard your time like gold, to spend it like purpose, and to move like destiny is depending on you, because it is. Every second is a seed, and your future is the harvest. Live with such focus, such fire, such intention, that time itself becomes your ally, and your legacy inevitable. So let the world keep rushing. Let noise and distraction clamor for your attention. Let the uncommitted drift in circles, waiting for someday, but not you. You now know the truth, that your time is your life, and your life is far too valuable to be lived by accident. From this moment forward, choose to live deliberately. Choose to guard your time like gold, to spend it like purpose, and to move like destiny is depending on you, because it is. Every second is a seed, and your future is the harvest. Live with such focus, such fire, such intention, that time itself becomes your ally, and your legacy inevitable.